The first hole at Ebotse tends to be slightly intimidating from a visual perspective. When you look down there and you see a very narrow fairway, don't be deceived, there's lots of space, especially over those little mounds just off the tee box. For many of you, hit a little fade, it'll be perfect down the left hand side into the big wide fairway up the right, and that'll give you an opportunity to really see the opening in the green and have a real go at landing your second shot comfortably on this big green. The green has got a couple of bunkers which protect it, but as you get closer to the green you get a sense of the true links feeling and the lovely links philosophy that was applied by designer Peter Matkovich.
Don't see no lights flashing, played by sense of smell, always gets the replay, never seen him fall, that deaf, dumb and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball.
The second hole at Ebotse is the longest of the 4 par 3s, measuring close to 200 meters depending which tee gets utilized. Fortunately, there's a nice big green and lots of space, and it is a low stroke, so for many of you, you'll get a stroke there, and 2 points is always a good score.
Even on my favorite table, he can't beat my best. His disciples lead him in.
The third hole, stroke 11, is quite a nice opening par 4 in terms of what you've played already. Gentle dogleg which moves the hole from right to left, some bunkers up the right hand side to protect it from the longer hitters. For many of the average players, a driver just short of those bunkers will left with a short iron into a green which slopes quite a lot from back to front. Be sure that you leave the ball below the hole, and that'll give you the best opportunity to garner some very important points going forward. The fourth hole at Ebotse is stroke 1 on the card. More importantly, it is the tee shot that sets up the hole. When you're on the tee, make sure that you line up correctly towards the big mound, which is situated in the middle of the fairway. Many of you won't have any chance of ever hitting it, so take your driver and swing away. The second shot is slightly uphill, so rather undulating green. The bunker down the right hand side really isn't in play. If one of you are the guys that hit it in there, you deserve a fine at prize giving. A 4 is always a great score, but don't be unhappy if you walk off with a 5. The fifth hole is a nice long par 5, and for many of you it's a definite 3-shot hole. Even the good players like to lay up. The protection on this hole is the green, which slopes from back to front, has a big interesting hogsback which runs through the left half of the green. It's a little bunker at the back which you don't quite see, and that can sneak up and bite you. Make sure that you hit 2 good shots, and that will allow you to attack the green with your third. The 7th hole is the second par 5 on the front 9, and this hole really typifies everything that represents links golf. For many people who haven't had the opportunity to play overseas, look at the 2 mounds which represent some other things that you might be familiar with. But the objective is to get your tee shot into the correct position, that once again you can lay up into the right position. For the longer hitters, if you hit a good 3-wood off the tee, you might be able to reach the green with another 3-wood on your second shot. 5 is always a good score on the 7th hole, and the long, narrow green is the other form of protection which this tough par 5 has. The shortest of the par 3s is the 8th hole, and really could be the signature hole here at Ebotse. As you look down, the green seems to fall off into the Rhinefield Dam behind it. It's protected by the 2 bunkers on either side of the green. The important thing here is to select the correct club. Get the yardage right, and you'll get the score that you hope for. On the 9th tee, you can almost smell the pie and gravy, but it's important to think your way through this tough par 4. Bunkers up the left, an environmental area which is demarcated with blue stakes all the way down the right. Gives you a narrow target, not necessarily a driver hole. It is quite short in distance, and a reasonable 3-wood should be followed by anything from a 7-iron to a pitching wedge. It's a nice long green, well protected with a couple of bunkers, and once again a par is a great score. Just like the first hole, the 10th is a beautiful links hole which opens up the back 9. Rather intimidating off the tee shot, but there's lots of space up the left hand side in particular. It's protected slightly by the mound off the tee. Once you've hit your tee shot, which you shouldn't hit too far because there's a big downslope, keep the ball on the flat. For the longer hit, it's a 3-wood. Then you're faced with a rather long shot into a green which is protected predominantly by a bunker just short of the green. Favor the right hand side of the green. There's a big slope which takes the ball up the hill towards the back of the green. The 11th hole has got some of the most beautiful vistas at Ebotse. Take a moment to just have a look around you. You'll see a host of holes which circulate the dam, the houses, and then look down as you see the green with a flag fluttering in the breeze, giving you some hope. There's a drop of about 20 meters to this slightly smaller green than what you've been exposed to so far. Little pot bunker on the right which protects those shots from bouncing in down the slope. A lovely par 3, shouldn't be hitting anything more than a 6-iron for the longer hitters, all the way down to a pitching wedge. Good luck. The 12th is the toughest of the par 5s on the golf course. The most expensive hole to be created in the South African golf history. And you'll see why when you get there. Big bunkers up the left hand side for the tee shot, and again not necessary to really hit a driver. The most important thing here is to hit 3 good shots, whichever clubs you decide to get you to the green. A 3-wood followed by another fairway wood or a hybrid will leave you 100 meters from the green, and a 5 at this spectacular hole is always a good score. Don't be lulled into a false sense of security here on the 13th. You get down on that front tee and you think you can drive it on the green. This hole might be stroke 16, but it's got a couple of devious little dips and turns which could result in a high score. A 6-iron off the tee followed by a wedge is always the sensible way to play 13. The 14th hole is a rather long par 4 and often plays into a slight breeze. The real protection here is the green, which slopes quite a lot from front to back and has a little step in the middle of the green. The drive required down the right hand side of the fairway will leave you with a long iron, and for some of you a wood even into this green. There's a big false front and everything feeds down to the left, so often you're better off leaving the ball 50 meters short of the green and hoping to pitch and putt. This is a challenging par 4. And anytime you make a 4 here, you can walk to the 15th tee with a step in your stride.
Don't cry, don't raise your eye. It's only teenage wasteland.
The 15th hole is supposedly the easiest hole on the golf course. Just a short iron to this very big green. That's all that's required. It sounds much easier than it looks, but I'm sure you'll be able to overcome a couple of bunkers on the right hand side.
The Exodus is here. The happy walk of here.
The 16th hole at Ebotse for me is one of the toughest holes on the golf course. It's a long par 4. Those bunkers up the right might give you an idea that you can fly them. That's definitely not going to happen. Aim at that left bunker up the left hand side. The little fade will leave you in a perfect position to hit a long iron into this slightly elevated green. The front of the green is rather sharp slope and does pose a problem for many golfers. Again, the option is for the shorter hitters to leave a little short and rely on your short game to ensure a good score. The bunkers on the left hand side of the green aren't really in play, and the beautiful trees behind the green frame this magnificent par 4. 17th hole is a really tough hole, and course management is the name of the game. There's an environmental area which hugs the left-hand side of the fairway, 2 bunkers which are strategically placed up the right. The key here is to leave yourself a shot short of the bunkers, so for many players it might be a 3-wood off the tee, and that'll leave you with a long iron, even a hybrid, into a well-protected green. The second shot, it's not a bad thing to leave it out a little bit short and to the right, and again rely on your short game to get up and down. Those bunkers up the right hand side, you definitely don't want to go there.